Welcome everyone to Meet the Polymaker. I am your host, Polymaker Joel. Welcome in everyone to yet another episode of Meet the Polymaker, where we talk about 3D printing news and we show off amazing prints by our community shared on our Discord at discord.polymaker.com. And before we get started, you guys see that scrolling little screen there? I'll read it out for you. In chat, to enter the giveaway, type I am awesome. There's no period in there, so where does it start? Where does it go? There's exclamation points. So type I am awesome in chat. YouTube, Twitch, both of you. If you're there, put it in there. You have a chance to win on either end. So make sure to get that in there. We will draw at the end of the show, and hopefully you'll win a spool of filament. But with that said, we are also not only talking 3D printing news and showing off prints, we are ultimately here every week to meet a new maker. Whether that be a designer, a modeler, a CEO eventually, maybe we're getting up in the world eventually, other filament companies, people with amazing, awesome projects. So we're always trying to find new, cool people to talk to. And I'm going to have to say that we're, I think, 36 episodes in. And I think I'm confident in saying that we're 36 out of 36 of awesome, amazing people that are just fun to talk to, fun to get to know. A lot of them I don't really meet until this show. So to find out more about them from there, it's great. So with that all said, let's get right into the news. First up, we are going to talk about Bamboo Lab. Wow, shocker. Who would have thought Bamboo Lab of all things? But we're not talking about their printers specifically. But where are we? All my stuff all mixed up. Either way, I know most of this stuff anyway. They're releasing a few new products. On November 12th, there's going to be a build plate and filament. And then on the 19th, some more filament. Of course, they have the little bit of snippets of information. You can click those links. It gives you pretty much what it is. Their go-to build plate is going to be a new cool plate. I don't believe it to be a sticker. It is going to be an actual build plate, but it is going to be the go-to build plate with super tack. That's the label of the site or the page that it's at. What that means, I don't know. Will it be a dipped plate? Will it be something like Sliceworks? I know a lot of people have loved their dipped plates along with BQ. So a lot of good options out there. Will this add a different option or just kind of one of the same at a different price point? I don't know. I have no insider info. But the next one is going to be the flexible filament for the AMS. That has been verified through various pictures. It is going to be TPU that you can feed through your AMS without it jamming. But I think right now speculation is it's TPU 98. And let me make sure here. I just want to make sure the giveaway was up. It is cool. But yeah, so TPU 98. So it's going to be a little bit stiffer than the 95. Again, depending on what shore test they're doing, how flexible is it? I mean, it's going to be flexible, but is it going to be pretty stiff or not? If it's going to be fed through the AMS, don't know till it gets here. Will allow, my big thing is going to allow the retraction, of when you're using other support material for it. If it does that, I'm happy camper to try it out. So we'll see. Again, it's due to be released on the site on the 12th. I don't know if they're shipping immediately right away. There's not really much information about that. But then lastly, on the 19th, they are releasing a wood filament. Again, what does that mean? There's been different types of wood filament. There's some that has a little bit of pulp in it. Our wood filament is more, it has a foaming agent in it. So there's different variations of wood filament. What theirs is going to be, we don't know yet. So stay tuned and we'll see what the price is and what really is everything in detail soon-ish. TM. Next up, another new product is going to be none other than Sovil's SV06. But you say, wait, Joel, the SV06 has been out. They have the SV07 now. This is a new version of the SV06. It is I think one of their most popular printers. It's kind of a clone of the Prusa MK3S. And a lot of people that I've talked to that have had one have loved it, have used it, and it worked well. Now this is basically a new upgrade. It's going to be running Clipper, so of course it's going to get it back up into the speed of what the printers are nowadays at the 600 millimeters per second printing speed. Ideal is going to be around 300, pretty much the same as the Bamboo. 20,000 millimeters on the acceleration. And again, it's going to be the i3 style. It's going to be full auto leveling, real-time monitoring control, all the stuff that we're seeing in pretty much almost the standard now of printers. But price point, it's already out, and I forgot to write that down. I think it's $239 Don't quote me on that, but it's a fair price for a high speed 220 by 220 by 250 millimeter printer. And again, it's got a good track record of being a very solid printer. So if you're in the market, maybe one to get, or at least watch some reviews and see what people are thinking. Next up, we're going to talk about concrete. Of course, we talk about homes all the time, but this is going to be all about the hunt for sustainable concrete, which has led to an improved 3D printed or 3D printing concrete that is much stronger and much more durable than what's out there now. So there's some that are they're too stiff. They harden really quick, so you have to be very precise on how it's laid out or how it's 3D printed. I've talked with a couple people that have worked with them and worked in the industry. Hopefully have one soon on the show about it. And yeah, there's always different additives. There's additives they put into it to adjust how much it cures or how fast it cures. That way, depending on how long that outside wall is, it's, you know, bigger house, it's going to have a longer print time. They don't want it to harden as quick, because then by the time it comes over, it might not actually adhere the next layer to it as well. So there is a whole science to it. There's formulations, but right now they discovered this one, this new possible better concrete by mixing limestone, I think it's calcined clay, along with graphene. So there's a lot of mixtures of random things. It's going to make it also help with the potential of reducing greenhouse gas emissions by up to 31% in comparison to the current concrete that they are using. So, you know, better for the environment and you know, better overall, I'd say, longevity of the homes or buildings that are built with it. So we're going to keep seeing increases in this just as much as we are FDM before long. Next up, we're going to look at the fact of light and sound being used with 3D printing to eventually lead to possibility of creating organs, human organs, or I guess really animal organs if you want to. But its process, it could one day again produce copies of human organs from a person's cell. So that is crazy to think. We've got a lot of technology in there now, is doing the human tissue, replicating that to where a lot of this stuff is not to clone people or necessarily make replacement parts. Eventually, yes, I would say it's going to go to that, but it's more of creating organic organs, tissue, so that testing can be done on that instead of an actual human, whether it be, you know, topical stuff, drugs, different treatments, to see how an actual organ is going to react. You know, shooting set amount of radiation in it with this kind of medication, you know, it's best to do that on an organ that's just sitting there that they're not, number one, wasting, that's not necessarily fully usable for replacement, rather than just putting a patient into it and hoping the best. So this is going to lead to a lot more medical, you know, success on drugs and ways to treat things and find out how certain things work. I mean, there's still so many things we don't know about diseases and you know, bacteria, viruses, things that we're going to continue learning through various methods, and this is going to go down that path. This is being worked on by David Collins and his colleagues at University of Melbourne. They're calling it the dynamic interface printing, which is printed with a resin style printer. There's still some curing involved, but it's also using sound waves to help speed the curing and I think release off the plate. So there's a lot of cool technology in it, but of course it sounds really cool when you say light plus sound equals organs. So the technology is insane. Last up, we're going to talk about an event. Last week, I think it was, we talked about kind of year-end events about the Formnext and about Smurf. Those are kind of the really big global ones. Still got some going on here in the US. And this weekend, there is the Maker Faire Orlando. So I have never been to a Maker Faire. I get to go this weekend. I want to check it out, see what it's all about. A lot of cool things. So this is going to be a really large event. They anticipate 14,000 plus attendees. I can't remember the how many booths they plan on having, but it's kind of like a rep on steroids. I think I haven't been to one, so I don't want to say more commercialized, but they're going to have a ton of stuff of do-it-yourself, science, art, rockets, crafts, tech, music, robots, and so much more. If you are in the area of Florida or plan on traveling down to this, I do have 10 tickets to share. I won't do a drawing because it's limited to, you know, if you're going to go to the Maker Faire or not. If you are in the area and you do plan on going, please message me on Discord. First 10 people that say they want to go, the ticket is a complimentary 2-day ticket. So you can come both days, you can come one day. But Maker Faire Orlando was nice enough to give me 10 to give away. So again, Polymaker Joel on Discord, discord.com or discord.polymaker.com. One of these days I'll get that right every time. But they're gonna have a lot of other things like the Power Race series, where I think it's like a $500 or $600 budget and electric vehicles of racing. So souped up Power Wheels. I was so hoping to bring the tiny bike to this, but I don't have mine finished, and the other one was not available at the time to get it down there because I would have loved to compete, but there's always next year. They have cosplay creators, of course, galore, from what I hear in the pictures I see. And one of the big things I'm going down for is the Robot Ruckus, one of the larger robot competitions on the East Coast. So all the way from what they call plastic ants, which are fully 3D printed plastic robots battling it out, on up to the big guys. So there's going to be a lot of tournaments, competitions going on. I can't wait to see them because I've never actually seen the full-on robots like the BattleBots in person. So I think it's going to be really awesome to see that. But that's also going to be part of the Maker Faire Orlando. If you are going, that is included. You get free admission into that to watch destruction of plastic things, or plastic and metal things. But that is it for the news, and we're going to move right into the print show-offs. And first up, we're going to look at, we're a little past Halloween, but I had actually had this one picked for last week's episode, but I didn't have enough information. This print is done by Tech Jeeper. It is the Sandworm PVC pipe head by KBP24 on Thingiverse. So you can't see in this picture is that glow head is actually the print, and it is connected to a large PVC pipe, which leads up the stairs to the porch where they can drop the candy down and it comes out the mouth. This was printed in a marble PLA, and then he airbrushed all the design and colors into it. But just a cool thing. I'm curious of how many kids refused to take candy out of the mouth and had to have it brought down to them manually, because I'm sure it probably happened, but a cool print nonetheless. Next we have Matt German. If you guys were part of our feedback hour with Sean an hour ago, we were talking about this a little bit. Amazing thing. Of course, Matt German is the printer. He's the one that created the lithophane from a picture. I don't want to say he created the picture itself, but I'm calling it the lithophane stained glass. I don't know if there's an official name for it, but a really awesome way to show lithophanes. And that's taking the picture and not just your normal kind of black and white color, just using white filament, using the CMYK bundle, the translucent panchroma. So if you're looking to pick up that to make stuff like this, really awesome. And it's just each individual, so you can do it on a smaller printer, print the frame out, you could resize it as needed. But again, an awesome print, especially when you have a nice sunny day. That is a very cool look. Next up, we have a print by Will. This is the Oni mask, and this is modeled by Jose L. Gonzalez, and this is available in printables. And this, he didn't put it in there, but I can pretty much tell that they're using the dual matte mixed berries, which is one of my favorite dual mattes. And this definitely shows how awesome it does look. It gives that effect of almost like there's a red light shining on, reflecting off the blue. But it is not. It is a dual matte filament. Just another amazing print that shows that surface finish of how the dual matte works. And it's just a good way to display it. So thank you very much for sharing. Next up, we have Frankenbee with a tiny turkey, which is modeled by Cinderwing 3D, available on her Patreon. This was in the dual matte camo, another dual matte one, which that wasn't even on purpose. Along with, I think that's probably PLA orange. Could be wrong. If Frankenbee's in here, he can correct me there. But though this is a cool picture, I'm going to advise anybody, we do not suggest putting plastic turkeys in your oven. I can promise you, not through experience, it is not going to taste the same. It is not advised, but it makes for a good picture. So thanks a lot, Frankenbee. And last but not least, we have the Flippy Ladder Fire Truck by Clock Spring. And this has been a model that's been around for a while. It's a print in place, and just cool, extending ladder. The wheels all move. Just a fun print. Turbo actually, I think he listed that he printed it for his nephew that really loves fire trucks. And that's, I kind of want to end it on that because we're coming into the season, and 3D printing, even if you think it's something simple, especially for a kid, you print them something that, again, we take for granted of just being some easy print that's kind of basic. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be fancy colors and multicolor and layer swaps or anything. This alone, especially, if they like something specific, his nephew likes fire trucks, an awesome print to give. And I guarantee you this simple print led to an amazing smile on the kid's face. So thanks for sharing, Turbo. And I hope that your nephew loves it as much as many others have. But that is it for all the show offs. And real quick to announce too, before I move into the commercials here, Anybody in the Ohio area, I hope this doesn't get out too far, but if you're in the Ohio area, specifically Columbus, I will be there tomorrow between 3 and 5 p.m. and I'm waiting for an email to 100% verify. Should be located in the parking lot of Micro Center on Bethel Road in Columbus, Ohio, with some filament. We're handing it out. We're asking if you can to help print for the print drive that's being hosted by Loyal Moses at the LM show. I don't have a link. Builder's Mark, if you got a link to, there's some information page on there if you guys want to. But I'm handing out filament. I'm handing out Polymaker filament. We're going to be in a cyber truck with a pallet of filament that we're going to be handed out. And I also have, got it right next to me, thanks to Vision Miner, who has also been a huge help with this, is we have Vision Miner. This is their nanopolymer adhesive, which I live by. I swear by. This is not paid. They are not giving me anything to say this. This stuff is awesome. Whether you have adhesion problems or not, it is a good backup just in case you have something. I put this on my plates nonstop. These are nice little one-use sample packets, and I've got a ton of them. So if you come out and get some filament, you are also going to get some Vision Miner. So thank them. If you see them on Twitter, it's a very awesome. Like I said, I've got a lot of that stuff to give away. But that is it for all the news. Hope to see some faces there, familiar and unfamiliar. So that is it. We're going to head to commercials, and after the commercials, we're going to meet our next maker.
In a world where color has been lost, one company's scientists work round the clock to find a solution. Every day, the scientists harvest color from quantum rainbows, infusing them into one spool of filament.
Introducing Polymaker's new aesthetic product family, Panchroma.
A complex extraction process is used to harvest light from the sun, and it's added to the mixture. This process superheats the formula to its final form, and it's ready for extrusion.
This was a fun fictional representation of how Polymaker film is made purely for entertainment. Polymaker products are in reality developed by talented scientists in a lab.
Are you into cosplay and prop making? Are you tired of having to break out those power tools to sand those lines away? And don't forget about all that hand sanding. Cramps. Ouch. Introducing Polymaker's Cos PLA. Available in 2 different versions. Version A and version B. Both versions are still easier to sand than standard PLA. Find out more at us.polymaker.com.
Have you had bad customer service with your filament provider? Have you ever gotten a bad spool and never got a response when you emailed the company? Well, that won't ever happen when you reach out to Polymaker. Some people say that no company cares about you. Wrong. 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 If you never got a response after emailing a company that you've worked with in the past, you may be entitled to better customer service. We at Polymaker pride ourselves on good customer service, and we won't ever keep you waiting for a response. Email us now at support@polymaker.com, and we'll get back to you within 1 business day. We'll fight for you.
And welcome back to the show, everybody. I hope you love the commercials. And as always, if you have any fun ideas, it does not have to be high production. You can submit your own commercial, and if we use it on the show, you get $100 of Polymaker filament. So a pretty good, easy way to do it. If you have some ideas in mind, then definitely submit them. The rules are in the commercial channel on our Discord at discord.polymaker.com. So if interested, go ahead and get your submissions put in. But we are here now to meet the maker of the week. And this guy, he models a lot of stuff. I think he does some other stuff too, but you guys know him as one name. I'm going to refer to him as Mike during this conversation because it's one syllable and a lot easier to say every time. But with that said, let's go ahead and meet who you guys know as Fix'em Dude. Welcome in, Mike. How's it going?
Hey, good. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, thank you for coming on the show. I know we talked earlier. It's kind of been a back and forth of trying to make dates work, and we finally secured a spot. You know, I got a show scheduled ahead of time, which, as we talked also, my procrastination doesn't always allow. But
Yep.
for those that for some reason don't know who you are, who are you and what do you do?
I'm Mike, and as you said, I'm a modeler now. I started off, in school. I went into engineering, and then I struggled with that, so I switched over to art, which has kind of been a passion of mine since I was a little kid. And so, not sure why I didn't start off in that, but anyway, I switched
learned.
my majors and ended up with an ad art degree, and so I became a graphic designer for this company that I still work for right out of college, and so we worked there for like 32 years now. But in
There you go,
2015, yeah, 2015, I caught the 3D printing bug. I've always dabbled in electronics and woodworking, things like that. So I've always liked to make things. So about 2015, I noticed I ordered some like random parts off of Amazon. And after watching, the other Joel and Maker's Muse and 3D Printing Professor and Shep, I thought I would try to build a printer. And so I struggled with that for quite a few months. And then finally gave in and bought a kit in late 2016. And then it was like a Folgertech little cheap acrylic frame i3 style.
Yeah.
And then, but it came with instruction, which was the piece I was missing. So we got that going like early 2017. And then I quickly became aware that like just downloading and printing other people's models wasn't going to be enough. So I got into Tinkercad. It was very accessible, and started doing some like, templates for work, looking for things to do around the office with the 3D printer. We called it a solution in search of a problem, and so
that's a good way of putting 3D printing, really, overall.
So we quickly found the printer paid for itself. I think it was like $300 back then, which is super cheap back then.
Yeah.
But it quickly paid for itself and saved, time and labor and stuff like that around the office. So then we slowly upgraded over the years. And
they don't still have that one sitting around the office, do they? That's kind of a
no,
trophy.
that's actually, it's out of my building. I do still have all the parts in a bucket. Like everything else is in a bucket. But
it's amazing with all the people that I've talked to of how many of us, because I'm one of them, that have in some way or form have the original printer they started on, which is cool. It's just maybe one day we'll all put them together and have like a
right, exactly.
rep. There's a use for it somewhere.
Yep.
So now with the graphic design, everything you did, did you ever dabble in like 3D modeling itself for design work or anything, or was it just you did graphic design, like kind of more 2D stuff, and then went into the modeling after you got the 3D printing bug?
Yeah, just pretty much the building the 3D printer kind of led me into the 3D modeling. So we got like I said, Tinkercad, and then quickly and that was early days for Tinkercad. So we were kind of pushing the limits for
Very
like
limited.
precision and stuff like that. So
Yep.
We jumped over to Fusion. I did the maker license for a little while, and then quickly became apparent that was going to be something that would be well worth purchasing a real license for the office. And So learned that, and then the artistic side of me was still in there. So I started trying to dabble in Blender. That's what I've been doing a lot of stuff in lately. Is Blender's a little more control, a little more artistic freedom compared to Fusion, at least for me. So
There you
kind
go.
of
Yeah.
the
So now,
progression.
do you bounce back and forth between them now, like depending on what you're designing, or do you kind of try to stay into one program?
I do. I go. Usually, I'll fire up Fusion if it's like we're designing something for the office, like an enclosure, or just a little jig to help the production crew place items quickly and easily, stuff like that. I usually go to Fusion first, so you can draw the sketch and all that stuff, and then for artistic things like a flexi animal, I'll lay it out in like Corel Draw or something, and then export that as an SVG, and then pull it into Blender and extrude it, and then go from there. So get a little, like I said, a little more uh, freewheeling control in Blender as far as grabbing actual vertices and dragging them around and stuff. So.
Oh yeah. Now you said, of course, the with work, that's kind of how you first got into 3D printing. What was your first personal printer that you kind of just had 24/7 access to?
Uh, Actually, my very first one was the parts that I bought in 2015. We finally,
You did build it then.
once we got the kit together, I was like, aha! So I know I can do this now. So it was basically the exact same thing, but then I was able to print parts that I needed on the kit printer, and then we were able to get that like original conglomeration of parts put together, and so I used
So
that
that
for
first one you built for work, was that basically that helped understand how everything was set up, and
right.
that's what made it probably easier to build.
Yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
'cause
So
instructions and YouTube videos weren't nearly as abundant as they are now.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, that just I had it all printed out in a little 3-ring binder. It just went through, and once we did that, it was like the light bulb moment, and it was
There
like
you go.
had a ramps board, and no part cooling. I had a desk fan blowing across the whole build plate.
It was
It was
definitely a whole do-it-yourself setup.
yes, it was a monstrosity, but it got
Figure
the
out what
job
works.
done.
There you go. Now with the modeling, you said as started with Tinkercad. Do you remember the very first thing that you ever modeled and printed successfully?
I think I followed a tutorial. I can't remember now which came first, but it was either a template for work to help them place these standoffs in an enclosure that they had to do by hand, or it was like a flexi something or other. I can't remember now which one was first, but I found a good tutorial on how to make a flexi in Tinkercad, so I followed that, and then we had flexi gorillas and
A
flexi
little bit of
pigs and all kinds
everything.
of stuff.
So now,
Yeah.
do you keep track of how many models are totally in your, or the total amount of models in your catalog?
No, I'm not super organized. So, I mean, I published like getting close to 200 on printables. That's where my main
Jeez.
repository is. But yeah, none of the work ones really I've counted. I know there's dozens and dozens of those too that we just whip something out at the office, but that kind of lives in Fusion for the most part. So,
Somewhere stored in a folder, deep dark in a hard
right.
drive somewhere. Yeah. Now,
Yep.
deal with all the modeling that you've done, and especially once you started posting them online for others to download. What was like your very first, very popular model? Let's say 50 downloads or something.
Yeah, that would have to be we found the kit cards by Nakazin, the Star Wars kit cards. And so I printed all of those and for the guys at work in the back in production, and they had them like up in a little diorama. And so then I noticed that it wasn't a real good Millennium Falcon. So I was like, oh, let's see if I can do this. So I did that in Fusion, I think. And it was a little challenging, but that one I did that. Then that led to the TIE Interceptor, and so I was posting these things to Reddit back then. I wasn't even on Twitter, and anyway, so this guy found the TIE Interceptor and asked if he could do a video on it, and I was like, yeah, sure, And I started
Whatever,
looking
sure.
at his Reddit history, and then I was like, go to work, and I'm like, guys, I think that's the 3D printing nerd. And anyway,
That's awesome.
took a while. It seemed like forever before the video came out, but that's when he printed the giant TIE fighter and Millennium Falcon. So that
That's
was
awesome.
then people were like, you need to get on Twitter. So that's when I jumped on there, and the rest is history, I
It's
guess.
history. Yeah. So now, with your passion of course, just kind of design and everything, was it right off when you started, designing like the fun stuff, like the toys and everything? Was it something where you knew right away you wanted to make things that kids loved, or was it more of kind of things that you loved and just wanted to design, or what kind of what drove you to design, like say the print and place and all your most popular stuff?
Right. Probably a little both. My kids were a lot younger then, so some of the stuff, stuff I thought they would enjoy playing with, like the Flexi animals. I have some niece and nephews, so the Flexi monkey was designed for them because we couldn't find a monkey out there to print for them, and so then they kind of just kept rolling, and
Steamrolled from there. Yeah.
gift cards, were fun. So, but then everybody started doing it, and there's some like people way surpassed what I could do with the kit cards. So there's some just phenomenal kit
Oh,
cards,
yeah.
Star
Well,
Wars and everything else out there now. So I still like to
and
do
that's what
those. But
I like to have the access, now all the repositories, and now especially for modelers like you that do a lot of things and a lot of awesome models, is you can go out there and you can subscribe and you can get that catalog, and I think it drives more quality in the models, rather than just a ton of people just putting out junk that maybe it prints, maybe it doesn't. I don't even know. I don't have a 3D printer. So
right,
no, I think that's good for people like you that model, especially because going into the modeling is, what is your average time spent to come up with the idea, put the idea down, and then finally being enough happy enough with it that you're going to release it.
yeah, and that's a tough one because it just depends. Like sometimes, be working on a model like this, the Starship Enterprise. Someone gave me the idea like over a year, maybe a year and a half ago, and kind of percolated in the back of my mind. I started it and just wasn't feeling it, and trying to figure out what food item to make which part of the ship. And so that one took forever, like I said, about a year and a half before it actually came to fruition. And then sometimes, I'm sitting there working on another model, and then like I'll see something on TV or online someone else did, and it'll inspire you, and you whip it out in just a few hours and get it test printed and put it online. And it's weird how like something like that will take off, and then something you spent like hours working on will just like 12 downloads, and then something you get
Yeah,
whipped out in like
was
2
that really
hours.
worth it now? Yeah.
Yeah,
Now, do you deal with the same internal turmoil that a lot of modelers I talk to do? Of you get the finished product and you're just not happy with it, and then I got to correct this, got to correct this, got to correct this, and it's
right.
never perfected. Or do you get to the point now that you're pretty happy with the end result and you can release it rather quickly, or do you fight with yourself if it's ready yet?
Yeah, again, a little both. Like you definitely with experience, you learn kind of what's going to print, so you don't have to do as many test prints. So you can get something on the first try that is probably going to print, and you hope it'll fit together. But there are a lot of models. Like I'm here as an inspiration to everyone else out there. Like I'm not that good or that fast, so like I just beat my models into submission sometimes. Just like I said, just hours and hours of like tweaking and merging vertices in Blender and stuff. So it's just not always easy. So, but if you just keep at it, that's what I do, and just eventually get something you feel is good enough to put out there, and hope other people like it as much as
Oh,
you
yeah.
do. It's not
Yeah, man,
always the case.
I see your models coming out each time, and yeah, I mean, I see the love. I see them shared in the Discord. See them, all the different makes across the board. But now we did talk about a finished model, and this is available model now, the Starship Enterprise. You want
Yeah.
to show that off real quick?
Oh, sure. Yeah, we
So
just
this is an awesome Thanksgiving model, and you're
yeah
wondering
we just have
Starship and
to.
Thanksgiving.
Morgan from Hedamame suggested the wishbone stand. So they had just the regular like Star Trek
the communicator, I think.
A-shaped logo.
Yeah.
I was like, why didn't I think of that? So
That is perfect. So you want to walk them through of all the different parts? They should be able to see it pretty well because it
yeah,
stands
this
out
is
a little bit.
the stand just kind of goes up in there, but there's just the turkey leg is the hull of the ship.
hull.
And then we got just some forks that come out for the upright part, and then we got ear of corn on the cob for the engine part, and then of course the pumpkin pie for the dish of the ship with the little dollop of whipped cream or ice cream, whatever you want to make yours. So, and then of course the
Now, I did
wishbone
ask the
stand.
question on the Twitter post. I think it was maybe Pezlaz's make that she had posted was with that whipped cream. You know, that's the year long, decade long, century long debate of was that enough whipped cream on the pumpkin pie? Because if it was me, that pumpkin pie would just be white.
Right. That's well, probably me too, but
Aesthetically, I think it works well. But yeah, just when
right.
it
You
comes to
have
actually
to,
eating the pumpkin pie, yeah, you got to use a half a tub.
have to use your artistic license sometimes to make it, look right versus what.
Go against your feelings.
Yes, exactly.
And yeah, it looks like Pezlers did link that on things.com. So there is that. If you guys want to print, it's now. So the print itself, is it individual pieces that you put together, or does it require multicolor printing?
Yeah, this one I was like, nobody's gonna print this like in one piece, so
Yeah.
especially with all the supports.
Lots of
So I
supports.
figured
Yeah.
I would better break it up and make it screw together and fit into slots and stuff. So I think that worked out a lot better. So that was a lot of the year that it took to try to figure out,
Yeah.
exactly how I was gonna, make everything fit together.
And now, have you kind of, was it just by design or was it by choice of a lot of your prints of being that way, of just being easy printable so people can download it and don't have to have special equipment for?
Uh, Early on, it was I didn't have a multicolor printer until
Yeah.
probably
Years
2 years
later.
ago. So all the early stuff was just because if I wanted it in two colors, I'd have to do color swaps or print it in multiple parts and put
Yeah.
them together. So that was pretty much what drove me to do everything, like I said, for color swaps or multiple parts. And so it was a, I guess, a challenge to make it work that way. But it's been fun having the multicolor, but I still try to do things,
Try to keep
for
it
people with,
somewhat standard for others.
yeah, people who are
Now,
multicolor challenged.
with do you have a large fleet of printers, or do you just have a couple? Or I usually ask people kind of what is your setup currently?
Yeah, I probably total. I have a Craigslist problem, as Teslas may have told you. So I have
Same thing.
probably a dozen or more between, rescues off of Craigslist, and
Yeah.
I've got. But my main ones are my Prusa MK3S with an MMU3 on it. That's the
Okay.
one I won for my Snowflake TIE Fighter in the contest. So that'll be like my OG. I'll keep it forever.
Yep.
And then I've got a Mark IV I got with Prusa meters. So that one's been really, like they said, it's just a workhorse. It's reliable and it's
They do make
real
a good
fast.
machine. Yep.
Yep. And then I recently got a Bamboo X1 carbon at home from some stuff from Thangs. And then I do have a Ender 5 Plus that I got for printing large things.
Stuff.
That's kind of on the floor over here right now, but it's been out of commission for a little while. But plan to fire it up eventually, I think.
I have the same as with the Ender 5 Plus. I still have it just because it's large. Yes, it prints way slower than everything else these days,
Yes.
but it's you never know when you're gonna have that really big print that you just want to be able to throw on there.
So.
And then now with the X1 Carbon, do you have that as with a combo also with the AMS?
Yes, I've got two AMSs on the one at home, and then I've got a Python kit that I have at work. I need to put together to do some of the spools that don't work real well, and
because that's the geared one, right? So it doesn't rely on the rollers. Yep.
I seem to have a lot of damaged spools. I have tons of filament over here on the floor that just out of camera range. But anyway, it seems to be a lot of it with just dented corners or chipped corners that don't work real well in the stock AMS. So I'm anxious to try that geared version.
I have a few people in the Discord that have printed it and love it. So eventually I'll probably do the same, but that's one of the 800 million projects. Which,
Yes,
speaking of
exactly.
projects, are there, of course, you just finished the Enterprise. Is there anything that you're working on for the next holiday, or is there still Thanksgiving stuff that you're working on? Anything that we can expect to see soon, or maybe some teasers?
Um, no big ideas. I am working on a flexi gingerbread that was suggested by a member of mine on printables. So that one's kind of a challenge. So I've been another one of those that's going to take a little while to figure out, exactly how to do it. I have been doing a lot of the little FDM vehicles. These were fun. Those have been a fun challenge, especially the taco truck, trying to figure out how to do that. But those were actually inspired by that flippy ladder fire truck. I remixed that for the
Yeah,
police
from
car
Cloud
and,
Spring. Yeah.
and an ambulance. And I was like, I'll start over and from the ground up and see if I could, make my own platform that we could go crazy with. And so
Now,
that's
is this
kind of what.
the with those vehicles? Because that's honestly, I think the first time I remember seeing your name and recognize the name was with the vehicles. And I've since then I've seen people each year battle for like, hey, why isn't this accepted in as like a Toys for Tot model?
Oh yeah.
Is this year the first year that it's accepted in as a valid model or verified model?
Yes, and then Kim Nerd Scott like really pushed hard for that. He was a real champion to try to get them to take a look at them and test them, and so I have to thank him. Uh, him to thank mostly for that
Yeah.
because he was the one who led the charge on that one for sure. So
Yeah, because with your cars, you do a special test with it too, right? I think I was getting this
yeah,
from the Krusty test, the Krusty
yes,
3D
I don't.
test.
But yeah, I'm not sure how he thought of that or why he thought of that, but yeah, every once in a while he'll do the crusty crush test, and we're all still waiting for him to land on his butt. But so far,
One of
nothing.
these days, yeah, it's gonna roll. You just need to make one that rolls really, really easy,
I
and
know
then just
he
sabotage
still
them.
hasn't.
Uh,
He still hasn't tested the ice cream truck or the
oh, yeah.
pirate ship. So I'm not sure why.
No, maybe soon. So now with the validation or verification for the Toys for Tots, did you have to do anything special, or is it more just people advocating for it and pushing it to them, like getting attention?
I think, like I said, Kimner did most of the work, so they actually reached out to me after he, you know, got in touch with them and for a couple of years, and then they asked which ones, or they had actually had a list of which ones they wanted to do, and I was, of course, yeah, as many as you want. But they they
So how
picked
many got
three, and
accepted in for it?
yeah, and they ran the tests for in different materials, and that took a few months. And so I think the year before we kind of started a little too late to meet that testing timeline, so we had to
Yeah.
wait till this year. But that's been fun to see just the dozens and dozens or hundreds of little
I'm sure
trucks
the
that
way
people are
this community
printing.
is probably in the end thousands, I'm sure, and then
Yes,
just all of them going to kids all over the U.S. and yeah, it's I'm sure it's very humbling, especially something that you kind of did for fun, but as kind of a maybe you get a return of something, but that at least to me is the ultimate return is knowing it made a difference somewhere.
right. That's the best part of it all is just knowing, or just hearing that, my grandkid loved this little school bus and stuff like that is what kind of makes it all worth it. So,
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now we'll get right here, move into community questions. So anybody on YouTube or Twitter that have any questions for Mike here, go ahead and ask in there, and we'll get to them here. I know there's a delay, but we'll get to them there. Yeah, Pesla's linked. I seen you linked in. I know you linked it in both. So 3D printed toys for tots, including Fix 'em Dude Motors vehicles. IC3dprinters.com. Which quick side note, IC3D is out of Ohio.
oh wow.
I know they have their little elf stations and everything throughout the U.S. They've got a good setup the way they do things. Oh, that's
Yeah, it seems to be a great program. Like just seeing what they've done over the years, it's really amazing
well,
that
especially
they
too to
made.
see the fact of accepting being accepting of 3D printing first off, because there's some things you have to be weary of, especially with kids and toys. I'm sure you've learned through all the restrictions and questions they've probably had for you.
Right.
But to be able to get to the point of being, hey, this is acceptable, will allow. Now we don't have to be worried about people that have money to go buy toys to give out. It's for us. It's pennies on the dollar to create one toy. And like I said, I've talked a lot in the last several episodes. Is just I think we've got to the point that we can print anything. So for a lot of us that have been in it a long time, it's just I don't want to say we necessarily take it for granted, but something
Right.
this simple, and not that your model was simple and you just threw it together in 2 seconds, but to us it's it's a model, it's cool and everything, but to somebody else that especially that doesn't have a toy, or just gifts at all for Christmas, I think it's an awesome way that so many more people will have an avenue to be able to give back, and especially the community, 3D printing community as a whole is just amazing. But let's see here. We got a first time chatter. Hey, I have a question. For every creation, copy or illegal use of the creator files is a problem at some point. How does Fixum Dude deal with this kind of situation? How does he live the copy or the sharing of files? Okay, so let me try to translate that. So I'm thinking is, how do you handle somebody that say is commercially using your models when they're non-commercial?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it happens in other countries. There's not a whole lot, that we can do without spending a ton of money to go the legal route. But usually, I try to reach out to them, and it may just be an education thing where they didn't know that they're not supposed to sell prints of that model, or give host that model on their site. So I'll just try to reach out to them on Etsy or eBay or wherever it is, and say, hey, this is standard digital license file. It's not supposed to be sold, unless you have a commercial license, membership through printables or things or somewhere. And ask them to take it down, and some are nicer than others. So
Yeah.
and then if they refuse at first, then, or they're kind of nasty about it, then I'll go to eBay or Etsy and do a DMCA or copyright
Strike. Yeah.
strike, and I've had quite a few taken down that way. And at the end of the day, it's some of it's going to go on, but you can't lose too much sleep over it. But I do have a lot of friends out there who
Say
will
a good support system definitely
report.
helps.
And,
Yeah, because
yeah,
the clicking that mouse button makes a big difference, especially when you have an army.
yeah.
Which, and speaking of Krusty 3D, your resident Fixum Dude tester,
Oh
he's
yeah.
in chat, so welcome in. I did see another question, or wait, no, I was going to say too is we also have somebody in chat that is probably, I don't know if this is a true statistic, that's probably printed your model more than anybody in the entire world, and that would be Ernie TFT.
Oh yeah.
He prints. So I met him way younger than I thought he was going to be. By the way,
Yeah.
met him at 3D Printopia, and yeah, I mean his passion isn't in 3D printing. His passion is in creating things, which I'm going to get him on the show here soon
Oh wow.
to talk about it, because it's, like I said, it's just crazy that he prints 24/7. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
officially 365 days a week, but I know, yeah, I don't know what his official numbers are, but we'll get them eventually here.
He's had to have printed more of my models than I have, for sure.
K2 Kevin, since I failed to dig deep enough into Fixum Dude's history, can you explain your time in prison for illegal trivia?
I've never been to prison. It's just a joke from the Chili's at Murph in 2023. So,
Oh, was that the so I see, I don't even remember, wait, 2023, so last year, was that the Royal Nomi? That's where I learned, that's where I titled her the Chili's lady,
yes.
because there's the whole thing with the manager and everything else. Okay.
Yeah, that was
I didn't
my
realize
only
that you were
choice
there.
so far. I need to get to some more conventions, but yeah, that was my one and only so far. But it was a blast to meet everyone in person, and
Oh,
get
yeah.
put a face to a lot of the names that I've seen online for so long.
And that's was up until, of course, now in the position that I'm in now, I'm starting to learn a lot more faces and names, and not that I wasn't social at events prior, but just more got caught up into this, the people that I knew. So now that's what's awesome about the show, is getting to see who you are and getting to meet you. That way, then at the next event, as long as my Alzheimer's doesn't kick in, I'll remember who you are. Let's see. I didn't check YouTube. Make sure there's no questions over in YouTube. And Pezlos is claiming that she's printed more of your kit cards for where'd it go? It just scrolled away. I think the Millennium Falcon. She's claiming that she's printed more than anybody. That's
probably true.
But if you ended up caught doing illegal trivia, how would you explain it in jail? they're set on that thing. So PSA, as Mike said, he has not been to jail or prison before.
We were just joking. If you were in prison and someone asked what you're in for, you were like, "What am I in for? Am I in for A, carjacking someone, B, robbing a bank, or C, running an illegal trivia game?"
So we did have another question from CGS Creations. What was your most memorable make?
Wow, memorable make. That's a tough one. Not sure, because that's one part I wish I had more time to make other people's stuff. My schedule's so crazy that sometimes I struggle to print my tests of my own stuff. But most of the stuff I've printed is Bugman. I just love Bugman 1_140. Just something about his style and aesthetic he's been kind of one of my idols since I very first loaded Tinkercad. Was aspiring to be able to model like him. So a lot of his sculptures I've got like on the shelf behind me here. So that's probably his demon that I printed last year in like a translucent gradient filament and put a light under it, and that was
turned out awesome.
Really, just put it on the turntable and it looked really cool in the dark. So.
And that's what I love too, is just about as the community grows more and more, you get more people and different perspectives, different ideas of just how to print. And it can just be the same model that 100 people have printed, but they've changed something up. Like you said, you did the translucent gradient and then added light to it. And just I see it all the time in the Show Off Prints channel, is the way people think. It's like, I wouldn't have even thought of that. Like, I've got all the printers, I've got all the filament, like I wouldn't even have thought about that. And it's nice to see. It irks me because I can't ever think of anything creative, but it does inspire for sure.
One of my personal makes that was a one-off thing was the because I love the jokes. So like the Hot Makes Oreos and water thing. Did a little sculpture with Wexter's mini gym and him surfing on an Oreo in like a wave of water. So that's another one that took forever to finally come to being, and so that's one.
Well, I'm sure that first print of you getting it finished, I'm sure made it all worth it.
Yeah, that one had modifying models and one of my few resin prints, so that was kind
never
of fun.
Know what you're gonna come up with, right?
Yep.
Oh, well, let's see here. Looks like let's see. I think that was all of them, other than they're adamant about the illegal trivia and prison stuff. But yeah, so we'll move on. We're right at the end anyway, so we'll move right into the rapid fire questions, where we dig deep to find out your deep dark secrets. But first off, we go easy on you. What is your favorite filament, whether it be color, surface finish? And it doesn't have to be Polymaker. People think that they have to say Polymaker. You don't if it's not.
No, I love all filament. So, but my personal favorite, like recently, has been this nice red from the Christmas 2023 pack. It's like this beautiful, shiny, deep red. So normally I'm a blue guy, but I've had a lot of models lately that just seems to be the perfect filament for it.
Yeah, out of all the seasonal or holiday packs, that's been my favorite.
Right.
It's just that red is just an amazing red.
That's the sad part, is it's dwindling, so I know I won't be able to get any more.
Better pick it up. I think we still have a little bit left in stock, but Get it while it's
okay.
hot. And then the next one I'm going to skip. I usually ask you what printer are you most proud of. We kind of just talked with that. CGS asked that in chat. So we'll go up next is Diet Pepsi or Diet Coke? Diet Coke. Yeah. I may or may not have got that information. I hear you're a big fan of Diet Coke.
Yeah, too big a fan, but
yeah, we all have our crutches. Mine's Mountain Dew, so it ain't any better.
oh yeah.
But let's see. Next up, we're gonna ask, what is? It's kind of a two-part question. The first question is, what is your favorite game show?
Probably win, lose, or draw.
Win, lose, or draw. Okay.
Yeah.
And with that said, have you ever been on a game show by chance?
Yeah. How'd you know? Yeah, I was on win, lose, or draw back in the '80s, late '80s, and that was fun when I was at
some gray
Southern
hair and
Methodist
everything else.
University. Pardon me?
I said with some great hair and everything, right?
Yeah.
Now, did you win the game or did you lose?
It was a college tournament when I was at Southern Methodist University, and we got second place. So we
There you
went
go.
almost as far as you could, but
If
we
anybody's
made it the
curious
whole week.
of watching that is on your face or your YouTube page, right?
Yeah,
Or
if you
your
go
YouTube
to
channel.
Pick Some Dude on YouTube, you can watch when I had a lot more hair.
Yeah, and back when the TV quality was not nearly what it is today.
Oh yeah,
So the youngins watching are
that's
gonna be like, "What
definitely-
were they recording this on?" That was
Yeah,
the high camera at the
VHS.
time.
Yeah.
So that is all I have for the rapid fire questions. I'll give you the stage here. If you want to promote any of your sites, where can people find you? Where can they subscribe to any subscriptions or anything to find your awesome models?
Printables is my first love, and that's where most of my models are, and where I first started the membership. So that's like the place that has the most stuff and it's the easiest to find me. Recently started some membership on Bang, still trying to get all my models over there. So it takes a little time to format everything to their proportions, and then
Making descriptions for each one.
right, and then recrop the photos and stuff. So I'm also on Maker World. Recently started doing some like exclusives over there. Been inspired by Grania, the earrings. So got a few exclusive earrings over on Maker World just as an experiment. And then I do have a Thingiverse where it all started off. Still have a few models over there, and then Cults 3D and My Mini Factory. So I'm everywhere,
all
but
over the place.
Printables has the most to choose from.
That's the go-to place. And then you also have your own website where you do sell merch and things.
There's merch there. I don't actually sell any.
Oh, okay. I clicked it.
But yeah, you can. It is available. I bought a mug of my own just last week, so hopefully it'll be here soon.
Oh, yeah.
I got
People
a
love merch.
FDM mug I designed. But yeah, fixanddo.com has like articles and just fun stuff for me to keep track of stuff I've done in the community, and people can go there to find links to all the different model sites and socials and all that stuff.
Kind of a hub for everything. So if you don't remember, which I mean, really, in the end, if you just search Fix 'em Dude on any of the repository sites, you're gonna find his channel. So he's got many models, but I definitely I appreciate you coming on the show, and I'm glad that we can finally secure something down. Hopefully soon. Do you know if you plan on any rep wraps next year? Is there any that you're close to that you plan on trying your best to make it?
I would love to get to Rocky Mountain, especially this next year. It's going to be right around my birthday, so it might be a fun present.
Happy birthday to you! Yeah.
Thanks. 6 months early, but yeah, we'll see. It's one of the not that much closer than Murph to Texas, surprisingly, but
okay, so you're kind of in between the two.
Yeah, I think Murph was like 15 hours and Rocky Mountain's like 13 driving. So I usually drive just so I can enjoy the road trip. So
there we go. And real quick, normally I end it here, but I did see Ernie TFT had one last quick question: is how did you decide on the name Fix 'em Dude?
That was actually way back in high school, way before 3D printing or anything. So we I had a friend who we like to fix things and build things. Even way back then, we're into like our Commodore 64s and computer stuff. And
You're dating
anyway,
yourself now.
I forget exactly how, but he ended up with fix them with a EM, and I took fix them with a UM, and so there's another
There you
fix them
go.
dude out there with an EM, but
Not the same guy.
yeah, he's probably nicer, but but
I
I
don't
got
know.
the
You've been
U.
pretty
So.
nice, so. But yeah, no. Like I said, I thank you very much for coming on the show. I definitely always enjoy, learning about people, especially like I said, I saw you at Murph and didn't even realize that it was you. So it's nice to have a face to the name. And like I said, I look forward to hopefully catching you at one of the rep wraps in the future. So thank you again. I hope you have a great night, and I hope you had a good time.
Thanks everyone for watching.
Thank you. See you later, Mike.
All right, bye.
There we go. Want to get you figured out for Maker Deck. I'm just trying to catch up on chat real quick. Nice. Yeah. See, I don't know, Kurt. That's what I've been saying is if fix them with an E dude is nicer than fix them with a U dude is. And can you be that much nicer? That guy was super polite. I mean, but nonetheless, we never know who's out there. But yet again, another great maker. I think I say it every time, but honestly, I mean it. These guys and gals have all been awesome to meet, to talk to. A lot of them I've been able to talk with afterwards, after the show, or whether it be at another event, and then we actually run into each other and see each other in person. It's awesome. So I hope you guys enjoyed getting to know him and just what he does. If you've not downloaded his models and you have kids, nephews, nieces, children at a church, children at a school, anything, I promise you, if you go download any of his print in place, very easy to print, solid color. You don't have to make it all fancy. Easy to print. They come off the bed, ready to roll and play. Some of them have some folding things to them. Get them, download them, print them, support him. Number one, because he's an awesome guy. But also, like I said, I promise you, if you have any kids or know any kids, it's going to bring a smile to their face. And the holidays are coming up. There we go. I see. There we go. Vicky over there in YouTube land. Don't forget to smash the like button. I haven't got that professional yet. Smash that like button. But other than that, if you guys haven't yet, before I get into my spew here, this is your last chance to type in "I am awesome." It's going to be your chance to win a spool of filament. Other than that, real quick too, is I seen a new person in chat. I won't call them out because I don't know if they want called out. But the person who is graciously giving us his time and use of an amazing, fun Cybertruck for tomorrow's distribution of filament in Columbus. He's in chat. I want to thank him. I'm not going to thank him by name because I don't know if he wants to be called out, but you can mention it in here if you want to. But awesome. Like I said, this is somebody that I've recently met and just a really awesome guy. And it wasn't even a question. I do, hey, you got that Cybertruck? Any chance you'd be willing to help me distribute some filament? And it was that. Yeah, nope. I'm free on Friday. Awesome. So again, it's another person. He's just recently gotten to 3D printing too. That's kind of how we met through a friend and all that stuff. But it's just awesome to get even more people into the community of 3D printing that are just so helpful and willing to participate in things. So again, thank you to you know who you are. But now we're on to the projects. What do we got going on? We still have Pokemon figurines led by Antoine Dimensions, and that is across the board, TikTok, Instagram, etc. And that eventually I need to get some graphics. That would sum things up really quick. Professionalism. But either way, every 2 days he releases a new video of a new Pokemon that is printed in multicolor. That model then becomes available on the day of that video being released. And he is down to, I think it was 16. He's down in the last 2 rows on the poster. So if you've seen his videos, last 2 rows, he's getting down to the wire. I believe it's set up to where he's going to be done with all of them by the end of the year. So what's to come after that? Stay tuned, but follow him if you're not already. The models are very awesome models. You don't have to print them in multicolor if you don't have the ability to, but they're there. They're already sliced and colored for you if you wish to. That's over on Maker World. We also have our Polymaker education, which again, TikTok, Instagram, across the board. That is led by Create6 Brit, and she has been pumping those out. She's right now on the same schedule of every 2 days of releasing a video. That model then is available. Seen a good outpouring of people that have loved the models and have mentioned of how they've used them, and just love them. And just recently, Thingiverse shouted her out, Polymaker Education out, and their tic-tac-toe board on X.com. I think that was yesterday. So congratulations to Britt on that. You're being seen, and I know a lot of people do see it. They do love it. They've got a ton of attention at 3D Printopia. So it's just a great project. If you guys haven't checked it out, check it out. Many uses across the board, whether you have your own kids, other kids, help kids, teach kids, whatever. And even not kids, there's plenty of things for adults too. So there's that. And then last but not least, we have Printing Color Show, sponsored by Polymaker, presented by none other than Pezliz, who you've seen in chat here. She's also known to me personally as my personal Rolodex, because the amount of information she has on half of my guests that I have is crazy. She's who I go to. I'll shout her out. It's who I go to for half of my rapid fire questions on people that I don't know, because these people, I truly don't know most of them until they come on here. So it's a fun way to get some snippets of information to kind of to have fun with. So thank you for that. But either way, back to the show and Printing Color that she does. That is every Wednesday on twitch.tv/Pezliz. And she's got some other shows that she does, some random streams that she does. She is fun to watch, always a smile on her face, whether in person or on the video. She's the same. What you're seeing on screen, same in person. So awesome lady there. But with that all said, we're stretching out. We're 8:12. Actually, we went a little bit longer. We have 74 entries. I think that's maybe one of the largest I've seen. And I'm not doing the best at promoting things as well as I need to yet. So hopefully that'll grow. Please invite your friends, your family, whoever might be getting into 3D printing, have been into 3D printing, to come on the show. Come watch the show. I mean, if they're doing something cool, they can come on it too. But share your prints over on Discord and the Show Off Prints at discord.polymaker.com. Submit your commercials. There's the commercial channel there. Lots of stuff, lots of ways you can win filament. Polymaker gives away more things than I've ever seen any company ever do. And it's great for me. I'm the forefront. I got to do that now. And it's like I'm Oprah every single day that I get to come to work. So it's been great. But thank you all for your support. We are here every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I hope you guys enjoy what you see and you come back to see even more. But while I give you guys last 15 seconds to type in I am awesome, I'm going to find out who we're going to rate into right after we draw. Need some music too. Oh, actually, here, I forgot to play the background music. Winner. I'm a winner. Let's see here. Oh, hey, we have. Okay, he's just starting, and so I usually wait until somebody's live, but who we are rating. Please show your support to. After we're still going to do a drawing. Don't worry. Big Jano is live. Looks like he just went live, so he's got about 5 minutes until he's actually live, but he has his start screen running, so we can still give him love. But first time chatter, there he goes, the Sergeant Porky Bacon Pants. I've seen that name before. Great name. So anyway, real quick, in 5 seconds, we're gonna draw in 5, 4, 3, 2. I'm doing it backwards. 1, and here we go with 78 entries. We're gonna do a draw. You will win a free spool of filament. You will contact me at joel.fit@polymaker.com or message me on Discord if you do win and you get a free spool. This is worldwide. Core count, that's a new one that I've seen. So core count, you have won a spool of Polymaker filament. As I said, you message me on Discord, Polymaker Joel, or as Builder's Mark put on there, joel.fan@polymaker.com to claim that prize. I'll verify it with your name in here. So congratulations. I hope you are still in here. And that way you can claim that win. We don't require you to be here, but we hope to, because you won't know to reach out if you're not. But core count, make sure to follow those rules. Yeah, there we go. Everybody tag them. Thank you. But with that said, again, thank you all for all your support. We're still going strong. We're going to end the year not at 52. I think it's not going to be till February or March till we hit 52 weeks in a row, but we will continue the race to 52. With that said, I probably need to type in raid. I needed some background here. Oh, and Big Jan always spells his name all weird. And he might, I don't know if he's finished his gingerbread house or not. That's might be what he's working on tonight. Okay, it's been created. There we go. A few more seconds and then we'll raid out. But again, thank you all. You guys are all awesome. Even if you didn't win filament, you're still awesome. Come back next week. You might win next week, and you never know what we're going to do. So you guys all have a wonderful night, a wonderful weekend, and a wonderful week. And we'll catch you next time.